Oh boy. Welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast where the tea is piping hot and we're always ready to spill, especially tonight. I'm Logan Murphy, just a gay, here with some vitamin water in a wine glass because I'm trying to be classy.
Cool. Right. And I am Lana, your resident diva. I'm just here with some water because it's just that kind of day. I don't have a lot to say. Just here with my water. Period.
All right. And hi, everyone. I'm Livvy. I have today with me some Powerade Zero in my cup and ready to sip.
Oh, goodness. Y'all, this has been the craziest, worst week of Big Brother Canada ever. I think the only thing that can match up to this is week 2 of BB Can 8. Where all of the stuff was happening. Or was it week 3? I don't remember.
I just know it was a lot of stuff going on. Like, it was like, I felt bad for the editors who had to jam everything into these episodes, because if you watch some live feeds, which I have not, but I kept up with all the information on the live feeds, and I was tired just reading everything because it seemed like every few minutes things were shifting and changing and shifting and flipping, and it was crazy. Like, I couldn't keep up. I could not keep up, honestly. I was just like, but by the end of the week, like today, I had no idea what was going to happen. I knew it was going to be Josh. Let's just say I knew Josh had the numbers and Josh had the votes, but I didn't know how many votes Josh had and how it was all going to, play out in the end or whatever. But it was a lot.
Yeah.
It
was pretty much a matter of whether the vote was going to be 7-4, 8-3, or 9-2. Really, that's kind of where we were at. I will have to say I'm going to applaud this cast, or at least the 9 people that voted to keep Josh, plus Josh, for keeping this a blindside for 3 days. Like, that's a long time in Big Brother. So I'm very happy we got an actual blindside.
The cast is amazing for doing that, and thank you, production, for not ruining it like Big Brother US, who always ruins blindsides, because production always have to step in and ruin a great blindside with their questions and their prodding and pushing, and folks are like, Is it me now? When did it become me? And then the blindside doesn't happen. So what? It's me.
Yeah.
No. So yeah. Thank you, BBK 10. All of you, the cast.
It's like one of the best blindsides I feel like we've seen in a very long time. Amazing.
I'm gonna say definitively on Big Brother in North America, it is the single best blindside since Godfrey staying over Jordan. I'm gonna say it. Like, that is just definitively, that's the last time we got that good of a blindside.
Yeah, it was definitely a good blindside, and I was very much entertained.
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, Brandon. I was entertained by the fact that the people who were going for him, who was going to vote for Josh, was just like, we know what we're doing. It is what it is. And the people who weren't were very confident that it was going their way. So it was kind of like, Oh, we know U.S. television ruins everything. We know this.
That
we
part.
know this.
Mm-hmm.
We know this.
Oh,
they ruin it all, always. But the reactions of it all made the episode for me. Like, it was a lot of talking and blah, blah, blah before the vote. And me personally, I was like, can we just get to the vote? I don't really care about all the talking because we've seen, if you watch live feeds, and I know, casuals need to see it. But we saw it. So I was just like, get to the vote. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. And it gave me everything I wanted.
Yeah, and also kudos to production for getting all those reaction shots. Like, they really went around and gave us everyone. We did not miss a shot, and it was wonderful.
They were ready.
You mean this one?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And maybe
this one?
Gosh. Those are the best. They gave us Kyle, Josh.
You should have got Kyle's. Kyle's like...
I think we got Summer smiling on the couch when it happened.
I'll see which other ones I can pull for future reactions that we need.
Kyle is definitely up there. I just saw it on Twitter. He's like... Yeah.
I feel like Kyle's like sitting there trying to pretend like he knew it was happening.
Right, no.
Right.
This is what I wanted, actually.
He literally was sitting there like... I am in trouble. Like, he knew right in that moment that's when he effed up. But that
truly. Well, I was still concerned because like I'd seen things on feeds, but obviously feeds go down multiple hours before the episode. And I will say, as much as I love Tanisha was talking about warning Steph an hour before the eviction. There was a lot of discourse last night where I believe it was Jess talking to Betty, and they were talking about how Tanisha wanted to give Steph a heads up. And Jess was like, absolutely not. Betty, you need to stop this. Because the last thing we need is Steph knowing about this.
Right.
And flipping enough votes to stay.
Right.
And so, like, it was really up in the air. I always... Kevin had talked about this on feeds this week. About the order in which people go to vote. I bring that up because Helena, I believe, was like 5th or 6th in the voting. And throughout this whole episode and throughout the entire week, she had been very, very back and forth on whether she was actually going to go through with this whole thing. Her MO was just she didn't want to be on the wrong side of the vote. And so I guess ultimately she decided, I'm going to go with what I think is going to be the House vote, which works out in her favor. But when she got up to vote like 5th, I was like, okay, so this is the deciding vote. Like this is what Helena is going to be the person to tell us whether Steph or Josh is going. And when she voted for Steph, I was like, oh, thank God. Thank you, Jesus. All of the deities. Thank you.
And I'm sure we're going to get more into it, but like this week has been so like cracked from Kyle. Like he is like crazy. And so I think like Josh always had the votes, but nobody knew that he had the votes because everyone was so afraid to tell each other that they were keeping Josh. So Helena thought maybe it was going to be like really back and forth when like really it never was. Kevin thought that like everybody was going to Josh saying, I'm going to keep you, but nobody else can know. And like literally almost every single person in the house told him that because Kyle's so crazy.
Well, we'll talk about the edit too, because this edit makes it seem like Kevin is the mastermind of the Josh flip, when in reality, that's not even close to what it is. And we'll shed some light on what actually happened when we get to that part of the episode. Not much happened on the Wednesday episode. That we didn't already talk about in our Monday episode when we talked about the live feed spoilers. So go check that out. We talked about all the alliances, where everybody was at. There were a few things of note beyond what we talked about. Specifically, there's a point in Wednesday's episode where Moose tells Tanisha, Summer, and Josh his side of the, I know Kyle, I know a lot about Kyle's game situation. Which I thought was good to show at least both sides of that coin, because Kyle had been spewing nonsense to them. And so Moose was like, well, actually, here's the thing. I know a lot about his game because I've been working very closely with him for the last 15 days. So there's that. And the veto happens. It was Steph, Moose, Gino, who was Steph's house guest choice, Josh, and Betty. The veto comp was Bee's Knees 2.0. I do love that we're getting like the 2.0 versions of a lot of these veto comps, but it's not every week. Like, I love that we got the what was the first veto? The balloon popping one. I forget what the title is, but that one as a throwback. We got this one as a throwback. I don't remember what season it was from, though. I think it was from season 2. I don't remember. Comp knowledge is not where I'm good when it comes to BB Can, but
yeah, I will say I really like that. I think this might be the second comp that we've gotten like this, where it's kind of like Survivor-esque, where it's like there's multiple parts to it, and there's a puzzle aspect, there's like a physical aspect, and like the hand-eye coordination, which I really like, because I feel like it like evens the playing field a lot more, and it makes it a bit more interesting to watch.
Go ahead, Lana. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I completely agree with you, Livvy. I'm actually really curious if there's a different person designing comps this year for BB Can. Because I know in the past,
I know Arissa has said that they're working on making the comps more equitable between men and women, because it's usually pretty disadvantaged towards women. And like very geared towards like the big strong men, and so I know they're working on that this season.
Well, and we know Arissa is a huge fan of Survivor, so yeah.
I mean, we definitely know that Big Brother Canada has always proven to be, I guess, better. A better version.
The cutting edge of Big Brother, I would dare to say.
I would dare. I mean, so I hope that I looked at Big Brother Canada as the leaders of what Big Brother should be, and hope that every other Big Brother franchise would follow in their lead. So yes, Big Brother Canada, make your comps more fair to both genders, regardless, and have a balance so everybody can have a chance to be HOH at some point. And then Big Brother US follows suit, because apparently y'all don't know what y'all be doing sometimes, because these competitions be
yeah. I feel like Big Brother US is just very complacent, and Big Brother Canada wants to continuously improve upon itself.
Agreed.
I think it also has to do with the fact that we're in the 10th season of BB Can, whereas we're going on to the 24th season of BB US. So, like, if you look at the international franchises that don't necessarily follow this, like the HOH veto, like comp-based things, I look specifically to 2 franchises that have kind of evolved over the last few years, and that's Big Brother Naija out of Nigeria. They've done a lot of changes over the last couple of years. For whatever competitions they do to make them a little bit more equitable, which I greatly appreciate. And then I look as well to Big Brother Australia. It's not the best franchise in the world, but they took a few years off, came back 2 seasons ago with a completely different format that was very, very comp based. And it's a very similar format to the North American Big Brother format. But they really took time to completely just rebuild their game from the ground up. And I think in the seasons, it will be in our 3rd season of this new format. I think it's a lot better for people that aren't just necessarily popular. Because in the past, they had run on like a BBUK format where it's all popularity based. And so switching to a more competition, but also popularity based situation makes it a little bit more equitable. So I think a lot of it honestly has to do with BB Can and how successful BB Can has been in the seasons that we've had. And to think it was almost canceled at one point.
Right.
So with that said, Global, let us watch in the US, please.
And also Global, when we're trying to watch, please stop cutting the feeds off. Please stop cutting the show off in the middle of voting and everything else. I was tired of having to find different links because I can't watch with you because you won't let me because I live in the States. And then when I find a way to watch with you, you keep cutting them off. So please stop doing that. Thank you.
I want to give a big shout out to Video Brother because I know Heather does the best that she possibly can with what she's given.
Heather, you are a G. You are the real one. You are a real one.
Do we get Heather on the podcast?
We would love to get Heather on the podcast because she is a real one. Heather is a real one.
I would love that. But yes, we talked about it a little bit. We didn't know what the comp was on Monday's episode, but obviously Moose does win the veto. It was very close between Moose and Josh, and I love the moment when Moose goes up to Kyle and he's like, check. You know, y'all, I'm back on the Moose train. Moose is doing a lot.
No.
I'm like,
fast. Don't jump too fast.
Just I'm adjacent. I am adjacent.
Okay, yes. You're closer than you were. You're not
absolutely
across the room. You're standing next to him. Yeah.
I'm neutral on Moose. I feel like I've been neutral on Moose.
Yeah.
I can't jump on the Moose train because Moose still talk too much.
He's doing a lot.
He just do too much, and I can't. Like I feel like the second, like it would have been fun. Well, Moose HOH to see the chaos happen and see what he does with it, but I feel like a Moose HOH also would have been just like make me want to rip my hair off because I feel like
it would have been Kyle 2.0. I feel like
because he would have tried to do something dumb, like he would have like Kyle is the easy target, but so I'm not going to go that route. Let's do something.
I'm going to nominate Arissa Cox. I don't know, like honestly,
just do something dumb. So yeah, I'm still neutral on Moose.
Fair. We also see in Wednesday's episode Kyle trying to take Moose out of the 7 and replace that with Marty, but we know the 7 is beyond done. Marty's mad because his boys aren't including him in anything, but then when they do include him in anything, he's like, Josh is a threat. Josh is going to pull in these people like Summer and Tanisha. Is he? Oh.
Why would you think he's going to pull in Summer and Tanisha? Marty, tell me. Why are they the two he's going to pull in? Interesting. Why wouldn't he pull in JC Lynn? Why wouldn't he pull in Jess? Or why wouldn't he pull in Kevin? Why wouldn't he pull in?
Choices.
In my best Dolores from Encanto.
I went Tatiana from Drag Race. Choices. But yes, so Kyle literally tells Betty she's going on the block for a second time this week. I would like to add, a second time this week, Kyle is telling Betty that she's going on the block. And then Marty has to get in his ear again and is like, Josh is a big threat. Getting Betty out, that's a bad move because she's, quote, the worst player in the game. And then Kyle in confessional saying that getting Betty out is a waste of an HOH, and he's so preoccupied with being remembered. Don't worry, Kyle, you'll be remembered as one of the most hated people on this franchise. Thank you, Brandon.
I mean, like, Kyle has made a lot of bad decisions, like several. But how do you tell somebody 2 times that you're putting them on the block and targeting them and then not? Like, you can't just keep your mouth shut for 5 minutes until you make a decision. Like, how hard would it have been to wait, like, 12 hours before telling her? And when you do, and then I think he blindsides her both times by not telling her that he's not putting her on. You use that to your advantage and be like, oh, I'm not going to put you up. Like, you should be so grateful to me. Like, don't put me up next week. Like, make a deal or something. Like, don't just blindside her.
If I remember correctly, the second Kyle and Betty conversation happened Monday morning. And I believe this second Marty and Kyle conversation with Kevin thrown in at certain points, I believe that happened Monday afternoon before the veto ceremony. So I think Kyle woke up Monday morning truly thinking he was going to put up Betty. And Marty was just once again able to get in his ear. He also talks at one point to Herman, who is also like going off on Kyle at this point and is like fully anti-Kyle, which like, thank God, Herman.
That was the best part of Wednesday's episode was them going off on Kyle.
Truly. Kyle thinks he has 5 votes. And we see this confessional moment with Kyle where he's like, wait, do I have Moose? No, I don't have Moose. What am I thinking? You would have had you not nominated him.
Kyle. Come on.
Anyway, he thinks he has 5 votes because he thinks he has JL, Gino, Marty, Herman, and Kevin. And he says that the swing votes are Helena and Jess. Helena, he's right about. Jess, not so much. And I need to pull Helena's reaction. I have it on my phone, so I'm probably going to send it to myself later so I can have it for streams. But Helena's reaction after this conversation with Kyle. God, I love Helena.
She is like just the second he walks away.
I have thoughts about Helena. I really want to like her. I really, really, really want to like her. Okay. But she's playing too flippity floppity for me. Like, I get being indecisive. I get that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, you have to weigh your options, figure out what you're going to do. And yeah, she made the right choice tonight. Great for that. Period. Yes. But you have to weigh your options. You have to figure it out. But it's like, me personally, I feel like by Wednesday, I should know what I'm doing. Like, I should know what I'm doing. I don't need to go back and forth. Like, I don't know. Like, there's in no situation, unless it's my 2 best besties and my allies sitting on the block together, am I going back and forth the day of the eviction, like an hour before the eviction. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. There's no reason for that. If the people on the block, one of them are close to me and one of them are not. One of them is in alliance with me and one of them are not. What am I going back and forth about? What are we doing? And I feel like she's going to be that kind of player the entire game. And that's going to drive me nuts. Like, I don't want to have to like be on edge with watching Helena go back and having these conversations where she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's not even the conversations with the like nominees. It's the conversation she's having with herself or the conversation I don't want to sit and watch Helena for hours, just sitting in the room talking back and forth to herself, trying to weigh these options when it should be a clear vote, when it should just be clear. Now, like I said, if it's 2 of her best allies sitting on the block, sure. Have those moments, have that time. Thursday, probably an hour before, you still try to figure out like what's going to be best for my game, what's best for my game. But when it's a clear situation, I don't want to have I can't deal with that. So I hope she's not this way the entire game. But as of right now, I think I'm putting Helena in the same zone I'm putting Moose. Like, I'm neutral on them. I don't really know how I'm feeling. I really wanted to like Helena. Like, I was rooting for her. I'm like, I want to like her. So maybe she's a step ahead of Moose because I don't even know if I want to like Moose anymore, but I still want to like Helena.
Sure.
I'm gonna stand up for Helena here because I think she does have some indecision in her, but I think it's primarily being driven by Kyle's HOH train and the fear that he's instilled in this house this week. Like I mentioned earlier, so many people didn't know where the other people's votes are going. Like, nobody knew. I don't think anybody who voted today even thought it was going to be 9-2. I think they thought it was going to be a lot closer. And so she probably genuinely thought she was that swing vote. Mm-hmm. And between the 2 groups, she feels like she's on the bottom of both. And so for her, it's like this one vote is going to decide the rest of the game. It didn't. And her vote actually didn't matter. But with the way it was being presented to her from Kyle and nobody else really backing up that they were also going to save Josh, I see like, from being stuck in that situation and like not being able to see the big picture, why she was like going back and forth so much.
That's fair. But
she has shown indecision in the past, so it'll be interesting to see if she can finally lock down a group this week. Now that like Kyle's not HOH anymore, if being in a solid group kind of gets rid of that indecision from her.
Yeah, we'll talk about her conversation with Summer and Tanisha here in a second because that was that's kind of driving. Like, she's still my winner pick, and I love Helena, But I'm kind of in the middle of you both at this point because like I really like her and I think she's playing a really good game for herself. But the constant indecision and the like, I feel like she's just too in her head. And I'll bring that up again when we talk about her conversation with Summer and Tanisha, because you kind of see her gears turning. Like, you see everything that she's thinking about in this one conversation and in this one DR session. I also wanted to point out an iconic quote from Miss Summer Sales from Wednesday's episode. Kyle Moore is a joke. I would rather align myself with a damn tree. I don't think it'll be peaches and mangoes for him after this POV. I just want to throw that out there because she is iconic and I love Summer. But yes,
Kyle Moore, a 23-year-old boy. I love Summer.
Oh God, I love Summer. But yes, obviously Moose used the veto on himself. Josh is named the replacement. Josh and Steph are on the block. We come to this episode. Summer tells Josh Kyle Moore is going down. Direct quote. Josh knows that Kyle isn't smart enough to come up with this plan on his own, but is going to do the best that he can to stay.
Oh, God. That took me in. He was like, he's not smart enough to come up with this plan. I was like,
you're not wrong.
You're not wrong, but not that.
Gosh.
Like, why? First, he's being called a 23-year-old boy, and then now he's not smart enough to come up with his own plan. When I'm like, neither one are wrong because he acted like a very much child this week and very much arrogant boy, and he did not come up with this plan on his own because other people told him what to do, and he just did it. Like the house said Steph, he went Steph. Marty said Josh, he went Josh. It's just everybody else is playing Kyle's game, and Kyle is just along for the ride, I guess.
I love that everyone has this perspective of Kyle. Like when Moose went up, Moose was like, you poor guy, like you let her mom convince you to put me up. And Kyle actually did make that decision, and Kyle's like, no, it was all me. And Moose was like, this is too dumb of a decision. You must have been played. Just like,
yep.
Kyle.
I wish we could talk about people's perceptions of Kyle all day because there's so many other live feed quotes. But we must discuss the ongoing, ever turbulent relationship between Betty and Kevin.
I mean, come on. I do like Betty, but like,
I do too.
Betty, what are you doing?
So Betty goes to Kevin after the veto ceremony and is asking whether he knew about Josh going up. To my knowledge, Kevin didn't know that Josh was 100% going to be the renom. He was there for the conversation with Marty and Kyle, but I don't think he ever got a 100% confirmation from Kyle. And so, like, did Kevin know about Josh going up? I'm going to say yes and no, based on what we've seen. But Betty is fully convinced that Kevin knew, and Kevin is just like, keep the lashings my way. Like, you have to keep acting like you hate me. And Betty goes, I do hate you.
I do hate you. And then Kevin says, well, then I'm coming for you.
What do you mean?
This is the second time Betty has come for Kevin in a week, saying she
not even a week.
You're everything wrong in the world. I hate you. I never want to talk to you again. And what? You're going to target me?
What?
And not only that, even if Kevin did know about Josh going up, you were upset at him because you didn't go up.
Right?
You're off the block.
I feel like
when I say cracked, Betty is so cracked in the most entertaining way of it all.
So entertaining.
Like,
I think what it is like she just needs somebody to like get all her emotions out, and Kevin's a very easy person to do that with. And I think there's just got to be something about Kevin that like Betty just can't stand. I mean, there's just something that ticks her, and she can't do it. Which
I was gonna say, I think a lot of her frustrations about the whole Kyle situation, like literally telling her she's going up twice in 1 week and then not going up. I think she's so frustrated with Kyle, but can't like put that on Kyle, obviously, because he's still the HOH. So she's putting it all on Kevin. Like you said, Livvy, because like Kevin is a very easy person for her to go after.
Look, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna say it. I know y'all don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it. Kevin probably triggers Betty in the worst possible way, because I feel like white men probably triggers Betty. And this man looks like the very much average looking, regular schmegular, degular white dude who is sneaky and conniving and who had probably did some things to Betty in her lifetime. And so he's very triggering to Betty. And not to mention, Kevin just, as he seems like a, genuine guy to a lot of people in the house. Like they're telling him things and trusting him with information. But I feel like Betty peeped that Kevin is not what Kevin seems, and she sees that in him, and she's like, I know you are not the kind of guy that everybody wants to make you out to be. Yeah. You're not gonna make me think I'm crazy because I see you, but I can't point it out because the rest of the house think you're just nerdy Kevin, just sweet Kevin, but I see you. So I think Betty is like, I peeped your card. I see what you about. I know what you came in here to do, but I can't call you out on it just yet. But you just irk me. You irk me. But on the flip side, let me put this out there. I know I said I didn't like Kevin, and I probably still don't like Kevin, but Kevin is playing the hell out of this game. He is playing this game. He is a good game player. Is he a good person that I would want to hang out with on the street? Probably never, not ever. But he is somebody, if I was playing this game, I would keep close, but not tell everything too, because I wouldn't trust him. But he knows this game. He has studied this game, and he is really playing this game. So I will give Kevin a kudo, because I feel like as much as I am not a fan of him, I am a fan of his game. I am a fan of watching him actually play the game. His gameplay is everything. I love it. But him as a person, nothing.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point about Betty too, because I mean, she does have Kevin clocked. Like, Kevin is playing a sketchy game, and the only difference is that Kevin is on her side, but like she still sees it and she can't get past that, which like is fair. And so it doesn't matter if he's on her side or not. Like all she cares about is like, look, I know who you are, like what you're doing, and like I'm not gonna stand for it, even if you are gonna help my game.
Right. Like for me, it's like I would go get a beer with Kevin just to like try to get like a glimpse into his like mental processes. And like that's where I would be at with him, because he just fascinates me. And like we're 3 weeks in. I said it at the start when the three of us came together for the cast assessment. I'm gonna say it now. I think Kevin might be my favorite game player in this house currently. Yeah. He is not my favorite person by any means of the imagination. He is probably 10th, 11th, or 12th on my list. Let's be honest. But I like we've said, like I have to respect the hell out of the game that he is playing right now, because he knew what he was going to do from the moment he got cast. And he's doing exactly that. And I have to be impressed. Like there's like I am incredibly impressed with the way that he's playing this game. And I'm not on the Moose train. I'm still on the Helena train. I'm on the Kevin train full throttle, let's go. I would be happy to see him win, even though I don't like him as a human.
I am on the Kevin gang train. Let me. I have to break it. I have to separate the two for me. I mean, and I get what you say. Yes, he's actually one in this house. Mm-hmm. He is definitely one of the best game players. He is playing the game better than anybody in there. As far as just strategic gameplay, socially maybe not, but strategically, he is the best player in that house right now. And if people don't wise up to him soon, it's going to be too late.
Yeah.
Because he is not, as much as I say socially, he's not that bad socially either. Because everybody is keeping him and trying to tell him stuff. He got a tight relationship with Helena. And so that's always a duo that he can, work with. And Marty trusts him. Summer wants to trust him. The only person who really don't trust him that much is Betty. And so socially, I think he's just a really good all-around player. Still not my favorite person that I want to see.
He's good at playing up that he's not good socially. And so people think he's not, but he is. Because he puts himself down a lot. He's like, oh yeah, I'm awkward and I don't really talk to people, but he does. And so
talks to everybody.
I also feel like that's probably how I would play Big Brother myself. I'm a social person, but I have my moments where my social awkwardness gets in there. And so I would try to play a strategic game as much as now that I think about it, no, I would be the social butterfly.
Oh, I'd be like, Logan, you can't stop talking to. No, yeah. I couldn't see you just I'm just socially awkward and playing that up, staying away from people. No, you'll be too.
Well, I feel because I do suffer from social anxiety, and so that would definitely be a part of my thing is I feel like people would maybe perceive me to be socially awkward, even though I'm not really. Because there are just moments where I have to be by myself, and that's just how I function as a human.
I mean, but I think that's a lot. I know for me, I definitely get that closed away. I have to be by myself for a little while. Give me 30 minutes, give me an hour to just sit by myself and not be. And when it's a lot of people around, but in the other times, I'm sure, I want to go talk to people and talk to a lot of people and see what's going on. I don't like not being involved, but then there's moments I'm I just can't be involved. And so, and I think that's just a lot of people. And I think that's human nature. I don't think it's anybody in the house or outside of this house who just don't need a moment of just sit back. Yeah. But I think he's playing it up to the point so much where he's taking more moments than anybody would usually take to I just want to go sit by myself and I have to. I don't think that's who Kevin is as a person outside of the house, but he is definitely playing it up inside the house.
He did that today after Feeds came back. A group was sitting in the backyard talking game and he walked out and he immediately went back in. They were like, oh, come sit with us. He's like, I need a couple minutes with no game talk. I just need a couple minutes with nothing at all. I'm went back in. I'm Kevin. What?
I know that killed him because he really loves to be in game talk. He loves game talk, but he had to play it up.
Yeah.
But yes.
Oh, but yes. We then showman's bullshit. I don't care. We get one clip of Steph campaigning, and she's campaigning to JL. I was confused.
I'm wondering if she was practicing on her, but did she even campaign to anybody else?
I didn't see or hear Stephanie talk to anybody. Stephanie was just Josh is on the block. Oh, I am safe, baby.
She was confident,
and that's why I don't feel bad.
Me either. Oh, I never felt bad. The second she said that, I was like,
yeah. Betty wasn't even on the block this week, and she campaigned all week long to stay before, the first time she was going on the block and the second time that she was going on the block. She campaigned to the entire house, and she didn't even get put up, and Steph couldn't do anything.
I was just how do you sit on a block? You're on the block, and you're I don't have to campaign. I'm good. I'm confident this person is definitely going home over me. So, yeah, I'm going to wear my peach dress today, the booby dress. Yeah, that's what I'm going to put on for eviction. I'm glad you dressed up.
This dress that we can't see in this photo?
I mean, at least you look good going out the door, baby, because that was
better than what she walked in as.
Right.
She did look really good tonight, and I was kind of like, was the blind side ruined because she looked so good? But it wasn't.
Right? Nope, that was what she planned on wearing.
I thought that was her leaving the house dress, but no.
I was so like, she was like, when she was like, I never wanted to put this dress on this early, but I'm gonna wear it. I was like,
and then JL being like, well, I have to look good now because you're on the block, and I'm like,
I'll dress up too. I'm like, oh gosh, it baffles my mind. Like, I've never played in any game where I was on the block.
It's Tajja.
Hello. I'm so sorry for my late arrival. Also, I sound like I'm dying, but I'm here. Hello.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Tajja. We love having you here.
There we go. Banner is updated.
Period.
Now we got to talk about Kevin game playing again, because we see this Marty and Kevin conversation happening, and what was it? Kevin is like, so if Canada voted to save you this week, why do you think that is?
Good gameplay, Kevin.
Like I said, I said before you got here, Taj, I said, you know what? Kevin is not my favorite person in the house, but Kevin is my favorite game player in that house.
Good gameplay,
because he is playing this game, and he is playing everybody in this house. Yes. It is
except for Betty.
Except for Betty. Betty is like, I peeped you, I clocked you, I know what you about. Whatever.
He's trying his best though.
He's trying. He's really trying, failing miserably. But like, Kevin is doing what needs to be done. Like, and this is not like it's brand new. Kevin been doing what he needed to be done since the moment he walked in this house. When starting with Mariah, when Mariah just sat there and spilled everything.
Melina.
I was like, oh,
check out our Survivor recap coming out this weekend.
I'm about to say Survivor. I just watched it. I literally just watched it. That's what's on my brain. Melina, when Melina just spilled everything, just spilled all her guts. Kevin was like, bam, and when told everybody what she said. Melina going out the house. Nick, the dead. Then he's like, every plan he wants to happen, he just plants his little seeds. He just plants his little seed, and it happens. He don't have to be the loudest in the room to make the moves happen, which I appreciate so much, because it's like, you don't have to yell and scream like, I'm the big dog and this is the plan I'm making, like Kyle, but you just do little subtle things, push out a little idea here and there, and as I call it, put it out in the atmosphere and wait and see who picks it up.
Yeah,
that part.
And Kevin is doing that.
I love a player in Big Brother who is willing to throw anybody under the bus. And like, you need to have a couple allies, and he does. He has allies in Jess and in Helena. But I mean, if it came down to it, he would throw them under the bus as well.
Quickly.
And it's like, I love to see it. Like, I was very, very skeptical about Kevin coming into this game. But like, the way that he just like does not care about anything except saving himself, I just love to watch.
He says he wants the villain edit. I don't think it's villainous. I just think it's him playing the game. I don't think
people should do. So people come in the game and are like, oh, I'm just gonna lay down and die, or like, oh, I'm gonna go, okay, whatever. And it's like, you should look out for yourself and only yourself in this game.
100%.
100%. Like, you can like somebody, I can love you, fall in love with you in this house. But did I come in here to be your best friend? No, I came in here to win. I didn't know you before I got here. Hopefully we'll have a relationship and be friends when I leave here. But I want to leave here with the money. So that's my whole thing, and Kevin is playing that way. He did not come in here to be best friends with anybody. He came in here to win Big Brother, and he is playing like he came in here to win Big Brother, and I appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah. Then we see Marty making just the smartest game decision that he's ever made, going to Josh and telling him, "Yeah, I'm the reason you're on the block." And then Josh, because we know he wants to work with the older house guests, I think Josh is 100% sincere in saying that he wants to work with Marty.
He is 100%. He meant that thing. Like, if we didn't read that in his bio, I'd be like, okay, Josh is being right. Okay, Josh, I see what you're doing. Look, you do what you gotta do to stay. But the fact that he said that even before he came in the game, that was his strategy, and then saying it, and then going to confessional, like, I meant 100% what I said. He is so sincere, and I believe he would want to work with Marty after this, especially since Marty voted to keep him. Like, he would definitely will try to work with Marty. The question is Marty going to work with him? Because we know how I feel about Marty. Marty, I think, with the outcome of the HOH, Marty is going to try to tuck tail and run back to where he was. But
tomato.
I don't know.
We then see the formation of, I think I'm gonna maybe say, one of the worst named alliances in the history of Big Brother. So the Village Voice.
The Village Idiots.
Literally, I literally tweeted that. I was like, "You Village Idiot."
Yeah, same wavelength.
You gotta put the sign up if you're gonna do it. Like, oh my God, I've never heard a worse alliance name, and we have Falte.
So excited about it.
I was like, we have Falte, and that is not the worst.
That was the one that he settled on. He went to, I think he did Pretty Boys 2.0 was an option. The Four Horsemen, which has already been an alliance.
Been done.
Now settles on this.
Village Voice, because we're this house is a village, and we're going to be the voice in this house and make the decisions. I was
because alpha men are the voice of everybody.
Yeah, you're the voice in a 9-2 vote against you.
Right.
Like,
yeah, your voice means a lot, Kyle.
Oh,
like, it's just eye roll after eye roll after eye roll.
It's eye roll, and then I have to roll my temples because I'm getting a headache of the nonsense and foolishness that you're spewing. It's Village Voice, come on. And then had the nerve, we gotta have a symbol too, so we can put that up. I was like, oh my God.
Because the symbols meant so much in your first alliance that you blew up for no reason.
Obliterated, even.
Well, let's
and the village. Okay, so that consists of who are the people in that one?
It is Kyle, Marty, Herman, and Gino. It's the bros.
The bros.
See, I was gonna say something slick, but Herman is in it because I was gonna say it should be named the Klansmen, but we move. Herman's in it, so we don't give him a pass. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Herman thinks it's a fake alliance at least.
Right.
Herman is treating it like a fake alliance, so it might as well be a 3-person alliance.
It's literally.
But let's talk about something more entertaining. Helena's facial expressions. Because Kyle goes back to Helena to confirm her vote. And she's like, oh my God, yeah, totally, of course. No. I will say, I brought it up earlier, and I forgot to bring it up when we started talking about this episode, the Summer Helena Tanisha conversation, because they're sitting in the Expedia room, and Summer just straight up asks Helena what she can do to strengthen their trust.
Which was hilarious. Like, just the way Summer goes about stuff, I was like,
Summer is just a very straightforward kind of player, which I always appreciate. And so they kind of share a little bit of information. This is when Tanisha tells Helena about the 7. Helena then tells them that she promised Kyle her vote, but she, in Big Brother, you can bounce the checks. You don't have to cash them. And so, she's like, I told him this I don't know if I'm going to do it. I probably won't, but I told him this just so we're aware. And this is where I saw Helena just getting in her head too much, because we see a confessional from her where she's like, at this point, I'm just like, I can't trust anybody. Like, what am I supposed to do? I can't trust anybody. And it's like, you can't trust anybody because you're getting in your head too much and you're indecisive, Helena. Oh.
Yeah, I feel like for that moment, like, it was a trust building for the three of them, but at the same time, find out like 7 people were in the alliance and you were in it. I feel like she's probably like, okay, well, like, now you're not in the alliance, so I can trust you, but like 4 of those people you still want to work with. So like, I think that's why she feels like she's on the bottom, whichever way she goes. But she's not. I think the girls all do want to work together.
I really think they have an opportunity now that Stephanie is gone, because I feel like Stephanie, her attitude was a little kind of stank. I ain't gonna lie. She just had a real stank attitude some of the time. And I feel like JC Lynn is probably easier to sway away from the guys, because like she even knows that being in the showbiz with Gina was cool, but if push came to shove, the bros would pick him over her any day. And so I feel like this is an opportunity for the women and the non-binary women to come together and actually form a strong alliance. They just need to trust that they could do it. You know what I'm saying? They have to believe that they could actually do it. And I think like Helena is she's close to Kevin. Like, I feel like you can still be close. Like, if the cookout taught you anything, you pick up your +1 and you bring them along with you, and you eventually get to that point, but you have your core. And I feel like that these women are strong enough to do it. They just have to believe that they can do it and stop being so in their heads and so manic. Like, Betty is so cracked and just like, I think she'll implode on herself. And Helena's so indecisive and overthinks everything. So I feel like she'll just like implode on herself. And Tanisha's so emotional, and her heart is so big. Like, she wants to tell people the plans. Just, I want to give you, I feel bad if I don't give you a head. No, sometimes you got to be like cutthroat. I think the people who are going to be like the strong head people who will be like, this is the plan, this is what we got to do, will be Jess and Summer. And I think Jess and Summer will be the ones to be like, yo, if we go do this, y'all need to calm down.
100%.
Y'all need to calm down. And I don't know if they will be strong enough to keep everybody together, but these women could do it if they just believed in themselves that they could actually do it. Because these men are cool, but they ain't the strongest men we've seen on Big Brother. And all it takes is for one of these women to win HOH one of these times and start bringing down these boys. And they could do it.
Please, because every HOH has been won by a man. We'll talk about it. God help us all.
Sick.
Yeah, it's God. But we're at the eviction. There's a lot of other fluff that happens, but like, there's also Kevin flipping Marty, which they make it seem so this is where the edit was not correct, because the edit makes it seem like Kevin flipping Marty is the catalyst for Josh staying. Now, for those of y'all that don't watch feeds, let us illuminate you onto what actually happened. We heard earlier in this episode, right at the start of the episode, post noms, where Summer was like, I will do everything in my power to make sure that you, Josh, stay safe. And that's exactly what she did. Summer and Tanisha have been at the core of this entire plan to keep Josh this week. They are the ones that have been doing the work, flipping the votes, getting Helena on side, getting Kevin on side, Jess was already secured. I believe it was mostly getting Moose on board. I was like, there's one other person. I couldn't remember who. Getting those 3 on board. The edit makes it seem like Kevin flipping Marty in this moment and getting Marty to vote to keep Josh is the catalyst in the whole game-changing situation. But that ain't the case, because the vote ends up being 9-2. So how is Kevin flipping this one vote the catalyst for a 9-person group to come together to vote out Stephanie. Like, it just does it make sense.
I wonder why the edit decided to do that. I wonder why the edit decided to show not the strong women doing what they're doing and making the moves happen the way it needs to happen, but take Kevin and his one little measly conversation with Marty, who pretty much already decided that's what he wanted to do in the first place, and just decided to tell Kevin that this is what I'm thinking about doing, and Kevin saying, you know what? If you do it, I'll back you up and do it with you, and then I'll like. That ain't the move. Show Tanisha and Summer putting in the legwork, talking to everybody. But you can't do that because there's only an hour episode, and I get it. But if you go put the edit together, put it together correctly, and show the people who are making the moves, because that's the problem where casuals don't get the full picture of what's going on in the house. So people like Marty get safe votes from Canada when he don't even need it and don't deserve it, because we're not showing the actual people who are doing the work, who is playing the game. Summer and Tanisha are playing this game just as hard as Kevin is playing this game. Summer especially. And I feel like she deserves to be seen on these episodes, but we're not getting that on the episodes, and all we can get is, Summer being cute, Summer being okay.
Summer telling Josh she's going to do everything in her power to keep him safe, but we don't see any of the actual work that Summer put in.
When she actually put in the most work.
100%.
I think she put in more work than Josh, because Josh was told to sit down and be sad.
100%.
Josh was told to sit back and be sad, and we'll make it happen, and so we can keep the blind side going. So Josh put in some work, but Summer put in way more work.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Josh's stalker for the first part of this week.
True.
Because literally at one point, I believe it was Monday and all of Tuesday, Josh didn't go anywhere in the damn Big Brother house without Marty following right after him, preventing him from talking game to anybody, which honestly is a lot of the reason why Summer and Tanisha did more work than Josh.
Yeah.
Which was disgusting. Again, I said it Monday, I will say it again. That is disgusting. You don't follow people around the house who are on the block to prevent them from doing what they have to do in this game. Let them play the game. You don't have to vote for them, but you don't have to prevent them from doing what they got to do. And if they can get the votes by doing what they're doing, good on them. They playing the game. But for you to walk around the house and stalk somebody and try to prevent them from talking game with people, it's weirdo behavior. It's so weird. And I'm like, why are you doing this to this man?
Why would you even think to do that?
Why is that even
all I'm gonna say, I don't know who Marty is outside of this game. All I know is the Marty that we see on feeds and the Marty we see on episodes. But the hyperfixation on targeting Jay and getting them out of the house, stalking Josh around the house, and being one of the catalysts for trying to get Jess to have a larger target than they already had. I'm not saying anything definitively, but that should tell you everything I'm thinking.
I'm saying it because Marty has definitely got some weirdo biases.
Stalker vibes.
He has some very much biases going on. Like you said, with Jay, then with Josh, and with Jess, and then saying, I don't trust Tanisha, I don't trust Summer, I don't trust Tremont, I don't trust Moose. Why are they the only people you don't trust?
Quite interesting.
Yep.
In the words of Cardi B, that's suspicious. That's weird.
And it's just like, bruh, we see you. This might not be you outside of the house, but inside of this house, this is what you're showing Canada and everybody else who's watching. And it's not cute. And even though you talk about I want to work with Josh now, what you showed earlier this week does not. I wouldn't. If I was Josh, I wouldn't trust you to spit on me if I was on fire. I wouldn't trust you. Right. And yeah, Marty's weird. And like I said, if the divide happened in the house with POCs and all the people non-binary and everybody who was not, if they all went on one side and separated and went against everybody else, know who started it. Don't come for them. Don't come for them when they do it and they take y'all out. But just know who started this and who was the reason this happened, because you forced it to happen with your attitude.
It's already started. We'll talk about that as soon as we get through the eviction. It's already started, and I love to see it. But yes, we get eviction speeches. Steph says a whole lot of fluff because at this point, she's still convinced she's not going home.
I'm not going anywhere.
Josh, I loved the shout out to the Talton people. Love it, period. And he talks about finding a new leadership in the kingdom. I love this man. If this man was not already in a committed relationship, I would do everything in my power to marry this man. I still might, honestly, at this point. But we get votes. Votes happen. And
Gooped.
Gagged.
Gathered.
Aww.
Gag.
When you're eating like a good Sunday breakfast, you know?
it was so good. Like,
we were eating for all of 10 minutes.
And then we threw it out.
Did you notice during voting, two people did like signs? Like
I'm
sign.
gonna
There's
bring
this, and then
that
there
up.
was a different one. There's two, wasn't there?
It was like this.
Yeah.
There was that one, and then there was a separate one.
I know Moose did this. Moose did
but I don't think. I can't remember.
I think that was personal. Oh, Kevin did like Kevin did like a, I think, but like
Betty did something different that looked like a sign, but it wasn't the same. Herman did this one.
It was Tanisha,
and Tanisha did this one too.
Oh, Tanisha.
We'll talk about it because that's what I have to talk about.
I think Betty did one too.
I think so. I just don't remember. I'd have to go back.
Yeah, hers was different though. It wasn't the same as Herman's.
It was just like a lot of Power Rangers unite, like
right. I was like, who's the Red Ranger? Who's the Pink Ranger? And why is it Betty?
It was like Avengers activate, you know.
Right.
Betty
Very
would
like
be the
Cheer Squad.
Betty would be the Pink Ranger, and Summer would be the Yellow Ranger, obviously. Because Summer. But yes, Steph goes, and she is gagged. She says that there's something way bigger going on when she's in the house, when she leaves the house.
Yeah, we're walking up the stairs, loud as hell. Click, click, clack. Come on, let's go.
No one likes your style.
Something big is going on. Yeah, something big is going on. You didn't campaign to stay. That's
you ain't
what
gonna
happened.
see it either on the other side of the doors.
Okay.
Speaking of doors, no magic door again. This is the second week in a row.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
I noticed that.
First week only.
But they said it was going to be weekly. That's the thing that it makes me think it's like how they did teams last year for like 2 weeks and then got rid of it. They were like, let's try this. And I thought it had a pretty like overall positive reception. I don't know if there was like a lot of negative reception from like casuals. I'm not really sure. But
I mean, everyone I heard talking about it was just like, okay,
it's a non-factor.
But nobody, I feel like BBUS does it a lot where they like forget their theme or their twist, and then it's like, but we were thinking of doing this. Never mind.
And then it lasts like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Or they like hype up this big theme and then like never talk about it after 2 weeks.
Yeah. Right. So we get the HOH. It is the shopper showcase. We finally get to see all the damn things that have been on the wall of the storeroom. And it is a higher or lower comp. That's honestly, this is kind of one of the great equalizers. Like if you know to study the stuff, then you study the stuff and you know it. And if you don't know to study the stuff, then you don't know it. It really shows like who's paying attention in the house and who's not. And y'all, unfortunately, you know who would have aced this competition? Kyle. Because Kyle has been in that damn storeroom studying for the last like 2 weeks. So I'm glad he wasn't playing.
In it.
Yeah. So
it's like the same energy as Misha not getting to do the wall comp.
Literally. But Herman gets the first question wrong. Bye, Herman. And then round 2 literally takes out half of the competition. So after round 2, we're left with Moose, Betty, Marty, Kevin, and Gino. Boy, this is an interesting group. Kevin then gets eliminated later. We get a tiebreaker between Moose, Marty, Gino, and Betty. And Gino's the HOH.
Blinks.
Tomato, honestly.
Right, blinks indeed. Like, what?
Honestly.
Like,
he
hasn't given us anything but something nice to look at. This little showman's thing he has with what's homegirl is boring, it's lame, nobody cares. JCPenney, yes. Shop for less.
I saw that on Twitter today, and I was like, that's so smart.
Gino is such a disappointment. Like, I had high hopes for Gino coming in. I'm like, Gino,
he has to actually play the game this week.
Now he has to play. So,
well, I feel like he's still probably going to find a way to not play the game.
100%.
I feel like he's just going to let somebody else run this HOH for him. Like, he's not Kyle, JC, Lynn. It's like one of them are going to do it, and he's just going to take whatever they say. And we're just gonna have to deal with boring Gino.
We're praying that he feels so betrayed by Marty that he targets Marty. That's what
I would love
praying for at this point.
But Gino has announced to the house right after the HOH, no game talk tonight. He does not want it.
Shocker.
Wow.
He does not want it. He does not want game talk tonight.
Okay.
Which is
he does know he's gonna have to do game talk eventually, right?
Right.
I have never heard him talk game one time.
No.
I've only heard him listen to Kyle talk game and like nod his head and be like,
they literally pointed out, I think it was in the Wednesday episode, they literally pointed out when the VV douchebags are in a room together and Marty is pushing Josh to be the renom for the first time. Marty and Gino leave and Herman looks at Kyle and he's like, and Gino got out of this conversation without saying a word. And it's like...
I saw a tweet that was like JL and Kevin talking about who they're going to nominate. And it was like, every time it had Gino's name, it was just like ... like saying nothing. And I was like, that's 100% what it's going to be.
100%.
Like, Gino doesn't speak and he just sits there and like, I'm like, such a waste of man and a waste of space in this house. But the fact that he's HOH this week is like, that means that
tomato.
Right. It definitely means Kyle probably will be safe this week, which is disgusting. And then it's like, you don't know what he's gonna do because the man don't talk. And all he does is look at Jason Lynn like she's the moon and the stars. And it's like,
honestly, y'all, don't be surprised because I feel like Gino is so far behind the game. Just don't be surprised when we see Jess and Kevin noms. Like, I just kind of feel that in my soul. Or like a Summer Tanisha.
He's not putting Summer up. He's not gonna put Summer up.
Like 100%, I feel like Summer and JL are safe.
Yeah, I think Summer and JL are safe. He won't because the one thing about his boring self, the people who he likes, he likes them. He likes JL. He likes Summer. He's not going to put them up. But everybody else and Kyle, he's not going to put them up. But Marty, possibly, hopefully, because of the betrayal, he might.
Could be Marty and Tanisha. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised by that either.
I wouldn't.
So, I feel like I'm going to have an unpopular opinion here because I'm not upset that Gino won because now he's in the minority. And I think it would have been a little boring for everybody who voted for Steph to leave for one of them to win because it just would have solidified that alliance. Like, it was a 9-2 vote, and out of the 2 people that did not vote, one of them won. Now, I wish it would have been JL because I think JL would have actually been entertaining and tried to get out of it somehow. Yeah. And I think that this could go a lot of ways. It could go, like, people convincing Gino to just, like, put Kyle up and, like, Gino not really caring and doing it. It could result in him putting up like 2 big guys in like either like Josh Herman or there was somebody else that I had.
Or Marty. Marty.
Yeah,
Herman.
or Marty. Yeah, and I think already Marty's talking about how he thinks it's going to be him and Herman. Or it could go the worst way, which it probably will because it's Juno, and that we probably will just see 2 women or a non-binary go up. And so I'm really hoping he makes a big shot at the guys or like turns it around on Kyle. But I feel like it's still going to be a messy week. Maybe not because of Juno, but the alliances are still forming. And I think we're going to see another messy week. And I don't think we would have seen that as somebody and that 9 people that voted out Steph would have won.
And I do want to talk about alliances because that's the one thing with this arm movement that we saw tonight. I think that's indicative of an alliance that has been forming over the last couple days called the True Fuse. I don't know if it's FEWS or FUSE.
I think it's FUSE because that's a fuse.
I think that's the double entendre of it all. I think they like that. Consisting currently of Summer, Tanisha, Josh, Herman, Helena, Betty, and Moose.
I wonder why that formed.
I love to see all the POCs working together. I love it.
Oh, me too. Oh, I'm not mad at it at all. You know me. I'm all about that.
We all know who started this.
But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it 100, folks. I don't want to see nobody on nobody's timeline talking about I can't believe the POCs are working together. This racism is reverse racism. I don't want to hear it because that is not the intention they had when they came into this game. They were ready and willing to play with everybody, and who separated them but the white men? So.
Well, and even then within this alliance, like a lot of them have connections to Jess. So there's a little bit of like fluidity with Jess in this. They're even saying like, I think it was Summer that was saying like, maybe we don't include Moose fully. Maybe we keep Moose on the outer ring as a vote for us for now. And then when if we need to take out a bigger target, like next week, not necessarily next week, but like first or second juror, maybe at that point we take out Moose. It seems like it's an inner 5 with kind of Helena. I would say probably Helena and Moose on the outside of it. From what it looks like, but I feel like this is still an ever fluid group that could include up to 8 or 9 different people depending on how things go.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know they also have the Rebel Reject Alliance that was Summer, Tanisha, Josh, Herman, Kevin, and Helena. But then I know when Betty and Kevin started fighting, that like kind of turned Tanisha off of Kevin, but then Summer's still with Kevin. So it's going to be really interesting this week. And I think that's what makes this Juno HOH interesting is like how these like people between like Kevin, Helena, everybody, how they form this like solid alliance. Because I know some people are worried about Herman now too, because he tells some people that he's with the guys and other people that he's not with the guys.
And so that goes back to what we talked about on Monday, where they formed the Rebel Rejects on Monday. Kevin went to Herman trying to work with Herman, and Herman was like, I don't know where this is coming from because I've literally never spoken game with you. So he faked out Kevin, saying that he was still 100% with the bros, when in fact that's not the case. And we saw that with the vote tonight. Like, he's not with the bros. But Kevin went back to Helena and was like, I don't know if we can 100% trust Herman. So that's where a lot of the distrust is coming from. Plus, like, I think Tanisha got in on that conversation. Feeds have been wild, so we're still doing our best to like piece everything together.
And what is it? Like Summer and Kevin are like pretending to fight, and like Tanisha thought it was real, so then she really didn't like Kevin, but then she learned it was fake.
Yeah. Summer and Kevin are fake fighting. Betty and Kevin are actually fighting, even though Kevin doesn't want to actually fight with Betty.
Which is so comical. So comical.
I love it. Honestly, Lana and I talked on Monday. We were like, this is a slow trudge. We're kind of just watching now, just to watch. And I think now with this blind side, I'm back in. I'm like, okay, I want to see what happens. I want to see what the fluidity of these alliances is going to bring us after this week. I'm just hoping one of my faves doesn't go this week because it's
And like Herman originally was going to blame his vote on Kevin, and then Kevin was going to blame his vote on Jess. And now it's only 2 people. So like none of that's going to happen. It's just going to be a ton of chaos. And everyone's going to be throwing each other under the bus. And Gino probably won't even care. But like, it's going to be a mess.
At least we'll be moving from like chaotic evil to chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Is kind of how I feel like the house is going to be this week. Like, it's still going to be bad. But like, anything is going to be better than this Kyle HOH that we just endured. So
I think Gino is definitely more influenced. So I feel like the fact that everybody can go to him and tell the plans and, try to tell him what to do. And it'll be interesting to see where he falls in his decision, because I know he's going to hear everybody's pitches and everybody's going to tell him where to go and what he should do and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I think it comes down to Jessie Lynn and Summer. I don't think Kyle has that. He has an influence, but I don't think it's that much. I feel like Kyle can just tell him. And I feel like if the house is telling him Kyle truly blew up everything, like people could come to Gino and be like, Kyle told us this plan and you're involved in this. And that could just make Gino like, okay, I don't trust this man. I really think it's going to come down to Jessie Lynn and Summer and what they whisper in his ear and what they tell him. And honestly, I hope they use their, feminine wiles to make this HOH one of theirs, because I think it'll be much more entertaining than the Gino HOH would have been anyway. So
use the boobs.
Right.
Use the boobs.
Use whatever you got to use, baby girl, and do what you got to do and make this HOH yours, because I honestly think this man is at this point where he doesn't want to make decisions. He doesn't. He doesn't want to make choices, even though he's going to have to now. He's forced to do it now. He doesn't want to. And so now, even though he can say, I think he's in a tough predicament for Gino, because he doesn't want to make the decisions. And even if he listens to what somebody else tells him, it's going to ultimately come down to what he decides. So he can be like, oh no, Jessie Lynn told me to do it. I'm like, but this is your HOH. So you still go piss off somebody regardless of what you do.
This is really not an HOH he should have won.
No, he really should have won it, because he was in but I feel like he's scared. Because of that vote,
he looked scared.
He looked scared. That vote scared him. Yeah. So I think that's why he went on and won that, because it's like, that scared him.
I don't think he's going to target Kyle, but I don't think he's really going to listen to Kyle that much either, because Kyle's the reason he's in this position
in the first place.
And Gino, he does not want like any kind of conflict. Like we saw it when JL was going on. He was not willing to put his neck out for anybody. And so I feel like he's just going to try to make it as smooth as possible. I don't think the house is going to let him. And the fact that the people he listens to the most are Jessie Lynn and Summer, and they're kind right now on different sides of the house, will be interesting to see like how he does get influenced.
All I know is Summer better work her motherfucking magic. Bitch, get up in that room.
She will.
Work it.
Please.
Put on her satin bonnet and go to work.
Please. Well, we don't know what's going to happen, but we'll be back on Monday to talk about it. Because at that point, we will have the Monday episode. We will have the veto meeting will have already happened. I can't wait to talk about this mess. Truly, we're going to be doing some praying for the next 24 hours and hoping for the best. But we will be back Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern-ish to dive into the first half of Gino's HOH. Ladies, this was lovely, as always. With that, I leave you with Steph Shocked. No, actually, cheers. I have a bottle. I have something right here.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yes, virtual cup. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
March Madness is amazing.
Do I add the Steph Shocked face to our end card? Maybe.